All right, we're here with head coach Brian Finn with the new Albany Eagles and getting ready for 2024. I can't believe it's already, we're in the first week of August, coach. It's pretty crazy that the offseason has kind of flown by this fast. But first of all, how is your summer going and how are you?
Well, I'm sure, like everybody else, we're busy now. I think, well, I take that back. I mean, I guess now with the new rules and now you can do 7-on-7 earlier. I mean, maybe we're later to the party than some other programs, but no, it's been a good busy, and it's people, you get that question, how's it going? How's the team going to be, or you know, can't wait for football to start. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, I can't wait for it to start, but then that means school starts up, summer's over, and there's some other sides to that not everybody's always excited about. But we're always excited to get going with football, and yeah, so we're in the thick of it now.
Do you like that 7-on-7s can take place kind of all year round? I know some coaches probably, like to have access to their kids and whatnot, but then there's also about the idea of maybe taking kids from other sports and whatnot that do other things throughout the year. But do you like to have the access to 7-on-7s all year?
Again, everything you just said. That's there's positives and negatives to it, right? Like you're going to have a segment of kids that I feel like as a coach we shouldn't be closing that door for them. And at the same time, yeah, I believe that kids should have the opportunity to play other sports and still be kids. High school sports is something I think is pretty special. It's unique. You only get 4 years at it, so yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. I'm not for it or against it. I'm more of um, interested to see how people are going to utilize it, and
Hmm.
going to truly be for the benefit of the kids, or is it going to be so? So I'll be interested to see how it is moving forward. We didn't do a ton of things just because we were in that situation. Probably a good 60 to 65% of our team plays lacrosse, baseball, track. We wouldn't have been really be able to put much of a 7-on-7 team out there because the guys would have been in other sports. So we'll gauge it and continue to see what happens moving forward. And anytime that the kids can get out and do some things to get ready for the season's a positive. Football is the most regulated sport out of all of them, and I do think there should be more flexibility. But I'm really more interested in seeing how other programs and coaches utilize it, and hopefully, like I said, it's for the right reasons, not monetary reasons, and not trying to get kids to not play other sports. I'm hoping that that everybody does it for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely. So where have you gone this summer then now that like you do have your guys, you have access to them fully, they're not in other sports, you're getting ready for the start of the school year. Where have you gone for 7-on-7s over the last couple of weeks? Like what schools have you seen?
Yeah, we haven't done much. We had one here. We brought in three other schools that were kind of nearby. 7-on-7 for us has always been more of a. We want it to be more of a teaching thing, not so much the competition of it.
Sure.
So we always look for teams that are kind of like in a similar boat to us, because again, I think we're a little bit later than everybody else. We want to get access to our kids, so we don't have an install of offense and defense ready to go. When we do our first 7-on-7, we're still kind of in teaching mode. So we use it more during our preseason practices, which we typically hold towards the end of July. I really try to, we've always had a philosophy of trying to let our kids have as much summer as possible. And again, it's for a couple of reasons, burnout, kids playing other sports. Here at New Albany, when a kid goes on vacation, sometimes they go on vacation. We get kids to go to some places I've never been. So you're juggling all those things. So we've always tried to have a history of giving them as much summer as possible, and then when we get to the last, you know, 2.5 weeks or so of July, we always say, look, that's when football needs to start taking a priority. And so whenever we can put things together, we try to. But this year we just ended up doing just the one here at our stadium. We had three other teams come in. It was good. I think it was good for all four teams to do that.
Definitely. Now, I saw that former head coach Pat Samanich returned recently to kind of speak to the team, and after your preseason practices and whatnot. What was it like to have him back in the building? And I guess what was his message to the guys and everything?
Yeah. So Coach Sammy and I, we came in together back in 2000. And he's now taken on a role where he's an administrator here in the building. So if anybody that knows kind of how teachers and administrators kind of work, administrators, their work year really starts in August. So because of that, because he's taken on that role in our school, um, he isn't able to be here and coach as much as I know he would be willing to or would like to. It's just a conflict of his contract and everything else. So the last couple of years, I've been real fortunate to get him back out here for the 10 days that we kind of put in July, what we call our preseason practices. And so, yeah, so he comes in, I told him, I just need you to come in long enough in between your golf sessions. Uh, and to help us out and stuff. So yeah, it's it's invaluable, and I'm blessed to have all these guys that coach with me. A lot of them have a ton of experience. They've been with the program for a long time, and so it's nostalgia for me, I guess, to have him back and helping out with the kids. Hearing him, get fired up about certain things and excited about certain things brings back, good memories for me because we're such great friends. But at the end, he always kind of speaks to the team a little bit, and his message this year was a little bit of talking about the idea of, there's people out there that want to be a part of football, and there's people out there that have to be a part of what's called the football life. And he kind of explained the difference between being football versus football life, and it was timely for us, I think, as we kind of wound down. We're heading into our two a days, and a lot of things he said, and it's why he's a great friend of mine. A lot of the messages and the things that he was bringing up, it made me think again. It kind of got me in the right frame of mind as I was heading into August. August 1st. It was like a good reminder of certain things that, as a program that we believe in, and certain things that we hold at our foundation. And since he was able to kind of deliver that message, it helped me. So I can't say thank you enough to him, all the guys that I get to coach with, for all these years, and in particular the last couple of seasons. Very blessed here at New Albany to have all these guys helping me lead these great group of young men.
I saw the other day too. You guys posted that you had your annual family day practice. That's a really cool thing. I want to know. I kind of want you to talk about like that and how that started and what that like. You just invite the kids as parents to just come and hang out at practice one day. Like talk about that and how that all started.
Yeah, so that goes back to when um, Pat and I and Mark Mueller, who used to be a former head coach here, when we all started back in 2000. A guy by the name of Jamie Massey was the head coach. He brought us all in, and back then we did it a little bit different. We've always done it different over the years, but it started off with a Father's Day, and it was just the dads came in, and it was actually we invited them to be down on the sidelines during a game. When Mike Golden took over a few years later, he made it more of what it is, a little bit more today. We kind of did an inter squad scrimmage. There was like a cookout. They kind of did that kind of thing. Again, it kind of changes, each cycle based on what the state of Ohio said we could do. Back when Coach Golden and Jamie Massey were the head coaches, we could have 3 scrimmages. You know what I mean? The season started later. You had more practice time. Things like that. Coach Mueller became the head coach. We kind of decided instead of calling it Parents' Day or Dad's Day or whatever, we just said let's call it a Family Day. That way, anybody that was significant to you, invite them to the practice. And I think when Pat took it over and Bubba took it over, we just said, hey, you know what? Let's just invite everybody. Who cares? Let's make it like like an Ohio State open practice type of feel. Anybody wants to
Hmm.
come on up. We do kind of a modified 2 a day schedule. We do a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. We scrimmage. We invite the families to come down. That probably didn't look like there was a ton of people in the stands, but we invite them to come down the sidelines. They can be, in any drills. I just tell them they got to be, within enough safe distance that no one gets run over or hurt. But if you want to come down and watch your son in our individual drill, come on down. You want to be over by the lineman shoots, be by the lineman shoots. You want to be over there in the running back drills, go over, be by the running back drills. Locker rooms open, come in the locker room. Be careful with taking too much of that air in with the guys having their equipment and their shoulder pads and everything else. It smells at this point, but you come on in the locker room, smell it, get a feel for it, and you tell the guys, look, we're giving them a piece of an opportunity to see a little bit of what you guys go through. Not totally because it's modified and it's just one day, but a little bit, a little bit of them to kind of see what it is that we're asking you guys to do because we're asking them to do a lot. It really is, and so I hope that they get an appreciation. Both sides, parents get to see what the kids are doing. Kids know that their parents appreciate them, and anybody that could come out of town, maybe an aunt or uncle or a grandfather or a grandmother that can't get to a game or maybe can't be here for a while, give them an opportunity to come and see what we do. And then the parents set up some tables, and there's sign up things and food and that kind of stuff. So kind of a festive kind of environment, to make it a little bit more fun as we kind of like wrap up that first week of 2-a-days.
Do you think that kind of brings the team together and brings you a lot closer as you enter August and you really start ramping up the intensity for the start of week one? Does that bring you guys much closer as like a family sort of thing?
Yeah, I hope so. And again, hopefully with the parents seeing it too. You know what I mean? That they see sort of the way we do things, and you know, and really the way we practice. I don't think we practice unique to anybody else, but I think if you came here and you watched us, we're pretty up tempo. We're moving from this drill to that drill. Our guys are hustling around. There's not a lot of downtime. That kind of stuff. And so the one thing that we always tell our guys all the time, like you can do this with us for 2 hours, 2:15, 2:30, whatever it is. You know, think about what it is that you really can't do with your life when you can come out here and do the things that we're asking you to do. So when mom and dad ask you to mow the grass today when you go home, get the grass mowed. Mom and dad ask you to throw away the trash, throw away the trash. You guys are capable of doing more than you probably think you're capable of doing. And so, and then we give that message to the parents, hey, use this, no excuses. It's one of our things. It's on our practice schedule. It says no excuses. If they come home and say they're too tired, say, hey, Coach Finn said no excuses. So hopefully it goes both ways. It brings us together, certainly, but at the same time, hopefully it allows some conversations that can maybe happen between mom and dad and the kids, and everybody gets an understanding of kind of like what everybody's going through as well.
Absolutely, yeah, I love that. Now I know the strength of your football team, at least last year, was definitely the running game, and I know that you did lose Joseph Owusu-Ansah to graduation, and he took the bulk of the carries last year. But you do have some guys returning: Ashton, Allen, Will Olah. They got some carries, and I know Will also plays on the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, how do you expect them to perform out of the backfield? But then maybe some other guys returning that mix in. But expectations for at least those two guys.
Yeah, so obviously, Will, is probably our most experienced guy overall. Played some as a sophomore, especially late in the year when we had some injuries and we got on our playoff run. We went to the regional finals. Will jumped in and really saw some valuable time and helped us. When we really needed him. So he's got the most experience out of everybody. He's going to have to be one of these guys that does a little bit of both. But with our schedule, we know we can't just line up 11 guys and play both sides of the ball. So we got to find some depth. So we'll definitely be playing a lot of linebacker for us and helping us out on offense. Gabe Kofer, who was third team All State for us last year at outside linebacker, he will also be playing outside linebacker, but we need him to help us out on offense. With Albany, we've always sort of had this philosophy of what we call 1.5. You may be a starter defense, but you got to at least be a halftime player for us somewhere else. If that's not on offense, special teams, something. We're not deep enough to two platoon strictly and just have 11 separate guys on offense, 11 separate guys on defense. Offensively, we love having as many packages as possible that we can put together. So as many guys as even if they're not taking every rep or they're not going to be out there for an entire drive, we like to mix and match as many guys as we can. Big packages, small packages, fast packages, spread packages, pack them in packages, whatever the kids can do. We really try to, and that's why I say I got a great staff. Our coaches do a great job of saying, hey, look, this is what this guy really does well. Okay, let's find a way to help us offensively. What is it that he can do? And if it's running the ball, it's running the ball. If it's catching, it's catching. If it's blocking, it's blocking. Let's put him in a spot where he can really help us. As you said, Ashton, we're Ashton's had a great offseason. Had a real good track season for us. We're excited about his potential. We think he could be a great replacement, as you said, for Joseph. We really think that he's going to be able to step in and hopefully solidify that we don't have a big gap from Joseph to Allen. We really think that we can just seamlessly kind of keep that going. Up front, that's every year. That's our thing up front. We're only going to be as good as we are up front. So we're relying on. We don't have a lot of guys coming back. Nick Newsom was a guy that played some tackle for us last year. That's coming back. He's probably got the most experience overall. So we're counting on him. He may have to play a little bit of defense for us as well, at least in the beginning, to get us going. But our seniors, we've got about 30 seniors, and a lot of them can play both sides, and so that'll be what we'll lean on early on. and then continue to bring these junior guys along with us to say, hey, look, you guys got to fill in the gaps. Special teams, backup roles, be ready to play full time starters. Those kinds of things. We got a young man named Grant Nelson, who we think will play some running back for us as well. Justin Lewis Justin, we think will be another running back type guy for us. Um, Quarterback position, we're down to two guys. We got a guy, Jade Hoovler, who's a junior, and Miles Jackson, who's a senior. Miles played a lot of receiver for us last year. One of them is probably going to play some quarterback, and then the other one, because they're too good of a football player, is going to probably play somewhere else for us. So, that's where these days and this scrimmage that we got on Saturday at Dublin Scioto is going to be huge for us as we kind of start to put some of these pieces together. Who are some of these guys that haven't gotten a lot of playing time, but we're excited about. But at the same time, some of these guys are coming back that we're trying to get them to do maybe a little bit of different things or help us out. That's where hopefully we'll get some of those answers after our scrimmage on Saturday.
You mentioned 30 seniors. That's a lot to have on a football team in 1 year. I'm sure it's great to have that many guys on your team who can be leaders for some of the young guys that are stepping in this year. But does it also kind of add this element of like, man, we've got 30 guys that this is their last dance. Like, this is the year for us where, I mean, you want every year to be the year, but especially for 30 guys who are about to graduate, like, this is the year for us to really put together a good regular season, winning record, and make a deep run in the playoffs. Is that kind of what it feels like?
Yeah, that's our goal. You know what I mean? That's always been our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved down to Division Two, Region 7 this year. Um, and we're going to have to really truly earn our playoff spot this year. Not to say that in Region 3 you're not earning it, but numbers are numbers. In Region 3 you got to beat out one or two or some maybe three teams if you're lucky. But in Region 7, there's 20 plus teams in there. So the guys know this. They know that we're not moving down from 1 to 2, and it's like we're King Kong, being brought down, and all of a sudden we're the king of the jungle. We don't have to earn this. We have to really go out there and earn it. And the seniors have been doing a great job all off season long. Of course, sort of that message, And when you look at our schedule, our first 5 games, will get us ready for our league play. League play will definitely get us ready for a playoff run if we've earned that right. So, our schedule is what it is. It's got a lot of great teams on it, really well coached teams, playoff teams that have a lot of success over the last couple of years. It's going to be a challenge, but I think our guys are excited for that. It's each week there's not a game on our schedule that we can't point out and say, look, this is a big game. And that's something that we, in New Albany, we're always excited about. And, if something doesn't go right the week before, well, you get a chance to totally redeem yourself the following week because there's another good team on there. So if things don't go right the one week, we get another chance to go out there and prove everybody wrong or prove ourselves right. Might be a better way to say it, the following week. So it's something that the kids have been focused on, and they're excited about it. And so, yeah, it's everything you said. It's in the trick, I think, at least something that I think has been a trick for me as long as I've been coaching, is to get the juniors and sophomores to understand that, like, you think you have 2 more years or you think you have another year, but you don't know. We've got 30 some years, but unfortunately, I got a couple of them that are really banged up. One of them, that's coming off of surgery that, we're hoping to get him back by late October or middle October, but maybe not at all. I don't know. Now, this young man's preparing like, I'm going to do this, and I'm not betting against him. I know that. But the reality is, I guarantee you, he didn't feel that way as a junior. When he was playing as a junior, this happened in the offseason when he got hurt. He thought, hey, I got another season. And so try to show these young guys too, like, don't wait till your senior year, to start playing. Like, we need you now. We need everybody now. And so those are good messages and good, good things that the seniors continue to lead and show these other guys, hey, look, I was you once, and I thought, my role was insignificant, or I didn't think I was ever going to play. And I don't know that how Will Olah felt as a sophomore, but I don't think that if you would have told him as a sophomore, hey, look, you're probably going to play significantly in a regional championship game at historic Crew Stadium as a sophomore, I doubt that ever crossed his mind when the season began. He probably just was trying to figure himself out, just wanted to help the team, and through hard practicing and buying into what we do, he found himself in that position. And as a result of that, he's had a pretty good career for us up to this point. So yeah, it's great to have 30 some seniors. you constantly remind them like, look, this is your first last of everything. It's your first last two a day on a Monday. It's your first scrimmage of the year. And that's the unique thing about high school football. We practice so much, you prepare so much to play so little, that these things are really, really special. I think that's the awesome thing about football, is that each Friday night is literally, it's almost its own thing. And
Yeah.
same thing with Saturday football with Ohio State or whatever. It becomes like a celebration. It becomes like, hey, this is this one unique thing that's going to happen every Friday for the next 10 weeks. And I love other sports. Like I said, I love my kids doing other things, but there's other sports they play 2 or 3 times a week, and there's big games, and there's other games that get lost and all this. And football's that unique animal, man, where it's like, this is the only thing going on. This is pretty awesome. So let's take advantage of it. So the seniors, I think, definitely understand that. They know that. As I always tell them, they're on the clock. I always say tick tock. They always hear me saying that, like, tick tock, seniors. Here we go. So definitely, and we're excited. It's like I said, it's a great group of young men. They're working really hard, doing everything we're asking them to do. We just have to find where all these puzzle pieces fit to put this thing together.
All of that was really well said, Coach. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to, in between practices, to hop on a podcast for what ended up being 20 minutes, which was fantastic. But thanks again, man, for coming on. Best of luck this year as you guys move down to Division II, and we're looking forward to seeing what you guys do this year. So we appreciate it.
Thank you guys, and what Storied Rivals does. And this is no joke. And I talked about it right before I got on here with you. Our guys have been watching old Storied Rivals videos in the locker room in between practice. We talked about this on our way in here today, and I told him, I said, look, those videos you're watching, you got to understand, those groups of guys, man, they paid a price. They paid a price for that to be out there for us to all enjoy and watch. So thank you guys for everything you guys do, that we have that memory of those guys and those seasons, and those kids who are no longer kids anymore. They're adults. They're adults now. So thank you guys for what you guys do for sport, and making everything so special Friday night for the families to enjoy, pretty much, from here until forever. So thank you
Of,
guys.